Have you ever daydreamed about living the extravagant life of a billionaire? Wondered if they start their mornings with a lavish breakfast in Paris or a serene dip in their private pool overlooking the stunning Swiss Alps? Well, sometimes they do, but you'll be surprised to learn that Warren Buffett is definitely not one of them. You might expect that a legendary investor worth an estimated $86 billion, ranking him among the richest people in the world, would indulge in late mornings and luxurious meals at sophisticated restaurants. But Warren, he wakes up every day at 6:45 a.m. and heads straight to the McDonald's drive-thru, grabbing his favorite sausage biscuit or cheese and egg sandwich. Who would have thought that one of the wealthiest individuals on the planet has a soft spot for fast food?
Hi, how are you?
Warren has a system in place to stay grounded and prevent money from altering his character while maintaining a close connection to the financial markets, even though he has already achieved monumental success.
And I tell my wife, as I shave in the morning, I say either 261, 295, or 317. And she puts that amount in a little cup by me here, and that determines which of three breakfasts I get. Okay, 295. There's
How
the
you
two.
doing, sir?
Hey, great. You're on candid camera.
I see. Hello, everybody.
Off to work he goes, but don't expect him to arrive in a flashy sports car or a chauffeur-driven limo. No, Warren prefers to drive his trusty Cadillac XTS, a sensible choice that doesn't break the bank. He's all about practicality and frugality, even when it comes to his choice of wheels. Warren heads to his workplace in one of his 20 custom-made suits, all tailored by the same person, his friend Madam Lee, founder of the Chinese company Dalian Dayang Trans. Once he's at the office, at 9:30 sharp, yes, the same office at Berkshire Hathaway that he's been using for over 50 years, he's fully focused on business. But don't picture him drowning in endless meetings or buried under a mountain of email. And what does one of the wealthiest men in the world have in his calendar? Almost nothing. In an interview, Bill Gates expressed his shock when Warren Buffett first showed him his old-school pocket-sized calendar. Gates' calendar, electronic of course, was packed to the gills, every moment allocated. Buffett's calendar was and remains notoriously empty. Gates paged through it, looking for appointments. "Warren, you have 3 things for this entire week of April," he remarked. That's because Warren values quality over quantity. He claims he needs time to think, read, and analyze. And in the office, he dives into a pile of financial reports and newspapers, devouring them like they're going out of style. And of course, he always keeps his favorite books close by, like The Wealth of Nations and The Intelligent Investor. The first newspaper he usually goes through is the Omaha World Herald, his city newspaper, which he bought in 2011. He's one of the few men who, when he says at home that he's going to buy the local newspaper, is referring to the whole company. Regarding his own company, Berkshire Hathaway, although it was initially tied to the textile sector, when Buffett became the majority shareholder, it shifted its focus towards insurance and investments. Currently, this holding company owns shares of American Express and the Coca-Cola Company, among a conglomerate of 60 companies. It's incredible to think that if you had invested $1,000 in Buffett's company in April of 1966, your holdings today would be worth $6.5 million. Excited to uncover captivating stories of financial triumphs and the invaluable lessons they hold? Subscribe to TurboFinance today. Here we explore investing strategies, money management, and the fascinating lives of billionaires, just like this one. Come along on the journey to financial enlightenment with us. But hey, it's not all work and no play for this extraordinary billionaire. When the clock strikes 5 p.m., he's out of there. Instead of jetting off to a luxurious island or dining in a fancy restaurant, Warren heads home to unwind. He finds joy in the simple pleasures of life, whether it's playing a game of bridge with friends or strumming away on his ukulele. And what inspired Warren Buffett to learn to play the ukulele? It's a story as sweet as a Dairy Queen ice cream cone. It's the summer of '49, and young Warren Buffett is back in his hometown. Juggling summer classes and odd jobs from herding newspaper boys to selling furniture at J.C. Penney's, Warren's mind wanders to matters of the heart. Enter Betty Gallagher, the girl who's about to turn Warren's world upside down. But alas, Betty's got a boyfriend, leaving Warren scratching his head in bewilderment. What does Betty's boyfriend have that he doesn't? The answer hits him like a ton of ukuleles. Yes, you heard it right, a ukulele. Determined to win Betty's heart, Warren embarks on a musical journey strumming away on his trusty ukulele, He spends hours practicing chords, strumming patterns, and learning songs that could sound romantic. And the result? She still chose the other guy. Undeterred by his failed serenades, Warren turns the basement of J.C. Penney's into his personal jam session, with fellow employees reluctantly joining in on the fun. And as fate would have it, his ukulele antics come in handy once more when he sets his sights on Susan Thompson, the apple of his eye. But wait, there's a twist. Susan's already got a date, leaving Warren feeling like the punchline of a bad joke. Not one to give up, Warren cozies up to Susan's dad, Bill, bonding over their mutual love for strings and strums. Armed with his ukulele, Warren becomes a regular feature at the Thompson household, crooning away while Susan's out on the town. After graduating, Warren moved to New York to attend Columbia University's business school. But whenever he returned to Nebraska, he continued his musical escapades with the Thompson clan. And lo and behold, after mastering the art of love and ukulele, Warren finally wins Susie's heart, sealing the deal with a wedding in '52. Since then, he hasn't hesitated to play it publicly. He even did a duet with John Bon Jovi at a charity gala. What a duo!
You've got to give a little, take a little, and let your poor heart break a little.
I like about Warren that he discerns what is important to him instead of going with the flow. One of my favorite quotes about Warren is, "I can buy anything I want, basically, but I can't buy time. I better be careful with it." Because I totally related with that. This is why we have to focus on what really fulfills us, and what for one may be sailing on a yacht, and for another spending time at home among family and friends. Speaking of liking to stay at home, by now you can probably imagine that it's not some mansion.
I could buy any house in the world, and I don't want any other house than the one I'm in. And that house is in a middle-class neighborhood. I'm happy in a pair of khakis and a sweater, so I don't need fancy clothes. I don't need fancy food.
Do you have an iPad?
I do not have an iPad.
iPhone?
No.
He still lives in a house purchased in 1958 for $31,500, which he could now sell for about $600,000. The modest exterior of the house belies the success of its owner. Buffett's decision to reside in this unassuming home speaks volumes about his philosophy of simplicity and frugality. And let's not forget about his philanthropic side. Warren has a heart of gold and plans to donate a staggering 99% of his fortune to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Who says you can't be wealthy and generous at the same time? Furthermore, he has always been committed to equality and advocates for equal opportunities. Buffett boldly voiced his stance on economic inequality in a 2011 opinion piece for the New York Times. He wrote, "The poor and middle class fight for us in Afghanistan, and while most Americans struggle to make ends meet, we mega-rich continue to get our extraordinary tax breaks."
I would say that in a country with $50,000 of GDP per person, that nobody should be hungry, nobody should lack a good education, nobody should be worried about medical care, nobody should be worried about their old age.
10:45 p.m., bedtime. For Warren, quality rest is crucial, and he prefers not to stay up late. He strives to get a full 8 hours of sleep to feel refreshed for his routine, which begins at 6:45 a.m. the next day. So there you have it, a glimpse into the daily life of Warren Buffett. Who would have guessed that the Oracle of Omaha is just like us, with a few extra zeros in his bank account? The next time you're enjoying a McDonald's breakfast or getting lost in a captivating book, remember, you might just be living life like a billionaire. Cheers with a Coke for Warren.